What's going on, guys, and welcome to Formula 7 Racing. This is the Gold Division, and we are here in Monza. What a circuit. Just bear with me, guys, because for some reason there's no game volume. Yeah, I know, Red. I've realised before I even started the stream that's what I was trying to sort out, but I didn't want to leave you waiting. So I'm just going to try and sort it. 1 second. Is that it? No, that's just hearing me again, isn't it? Just bear with me. Okay, here. Sorry, guys, got really, really bad hay fever. Like, really bad. Just bear with me. Just bear with me. 1 second. I messed around with the settings when I did the podcast. And I don't know what I've done. 1 second. I think it was this. And then... no, I think that's even worse. Just bear with me because I need to try and listen to it as well to try and sort it out. Oh, that's awful. Right, I've took that off. Jesus. Right, I've took that off. I know. Jesus. Oh, this is so annoying. I don't know what I did. Just bear with me, guys. I do apologise. This is what happens. You do a podcast, you do something else, and then you mess around with your settings. And I don't know what I've done now. What did Alvaro say? Oh, shit. Sorry, guys. 1 second. Oh, for God's sake. 1 second. I'm trying to sort this. Just bear with me. I do apologise, guys. I just don't even know what I've done here. So it would be under audio input capture. That's it. Yeah, but it's on monitor and output. What if I put it into default? I don't know what's happened here. 1 second, guys. I think. That's it. 1 second. I think somebody's put it in the wrong thing. 1 minute. You did it. You put that on that side. What?
Have a shout at me. They tell you didn't know what to do.
You put that on that side. Oh, for God's sake. Oh, it's alright, don't matter. 1 second. I need to try and bloody sort this. Is that... No, you can hear me there. It's the wrong way around, isn't it? Jesus. You can still hear me, can't you? I don't know why that is. 1 second. Why is that? 1 second. Jesus. I'm getting stressed. 1 minute. It's not even on a bloody LAN cable. Jesus. My missus has moved everything and cleaned everything. So she's moved every wire, unplugged every wire and replugged it all back in. So that's why the LAN cable isn't connected, which is a big thing. So it's on Wi-Fi now and I've had to move around. What's the car noises? Are they back? Oh, don't. Jesus. God's sake. Oh! Oh, GTX in the Mercedes has just gone into the wall. He is out. Ryan Dyperveen and Fanfinus are both out as well. The two McLaren drivers, they are both out of this race. Banter Brandon in the Alpine as well. Alvaro, if you do want to come and join, you're always more than welcome as well. Loads of drivers haven't turned up again. They voted that they're racing and just not turned up. So I'm going to take a look at their seats afterwards. So Banter Brandon coming through. We have a huge championship battle. I remember B Wright, who is in P3 as well. Banter Brandon in P16. Yet to settle up as he goes past the Scuderia down towards the Parabolica chicane. Now called the Curva Alberto. And here comes the Alpine. And down towards the line. It's only P6 for Banter Brandon. It's only P6. Yeah, sorry guys. That I was absolutely fuming. I'm sweating as well sat here. And all the wires have been unplugged and plugged back in and oh god, I'm not even doing a sound check, guys. Let me know if anything's a little too loud or anything. And I've got hay fever, I can't stop sneezing. So if you're listening for the first time, I really apologise for the technical difficulties at the start of this qualifying. It's not usually like that. It's because we did the podcast and everything was moved around, and then my missus went and cleaned the whole area and took all the wires out and put them all back in the wrong places. So WRS Jake is back on track as well in the Mercedes. But the big news is RRL James, brand new Ferrari driver, is on track as well. Let's see what he can do. And he's already gone P9 with that 120.1. No worries, cheers, Red. Let me just know if that's okay. Rogue Smithy, a 119.0 from the Ferrari driver. He has moved up from silver and he is now a gold driver. And he is driving in his team for this evening's race. So, Rogue Smithy, provisional pole with 6 minutes of this qualifying left. Lewis in the Aston Martin, who got pole position actually last weekend in the Netherlands. He is currently in P3. What happened? I know, Red. Literally. Way too quick for Silver. Let's see how he performs. But Henke in the Alpine, 189 from the Norwegian driver. What a lap from him. A. Quinlan's on an outlap as well. So we will stay on board with A. Quinlan. So down the pitch straight he goes, DRS enabled, ERS is on, down towards turn 1 at Retafilo. So early on the brake, oh, and he slid it, and that is lap over. Is he going to still try and go for it? Because he's yet to set a lap time. What's going on, Jack? How you doing, mate? He is still going for it. He's going round the Curva Grande, not Ariana. Down towards Della Roggia at turn 3. Using that curve, a few mistakes here as they go into the Lesmo corners at turn 4 and 5. Yeah, I think he's going to back out. No, he's still going for it, I think. Down in towards turn 5. And then the DRS is enabled once again. Down Seraglio at turn 6. And then into the old famous Ascari in towards turn 7. And then down towards Parabolica, also known as... Jesus, I just said it, hadn't I? Forgot it now. But here comes A. Quinlan. He won't be... You know what? Considering he made a lot of mistakes, that is a really good lap. Considering he made a lot of mistakes there, the Alfa Romeo. B-Rat is on a lap time. Here we go. The championship leader. He's extended his gap to around 24 points now in this Gold Championship. Coming around the Lesmo corners. I think he's on an in-lap. Is he going to be able to go for another lap? He's going for it, but he's got no ERS at all. That's going to kill his lap. Curva Alberto. So down towards the Alberta chicane. I think, will he have time to pit and get back out? I think he will. So we do have every driver in the pit lane apart from A. Quinlan, who has invalidated it. He's really not having any luck here, is he, the Alfa Romeo driver? The two McLarens are going to have to come from the back of this grid. There we go. The screen's showing up now. So, a couple of drivers on outlaps. Super Trubo, Martin, Jake, and Splendy, the Irishman. Who's leading the way, though? That is Jake in the Mercedes. So Jake in the Mercedes will be the first driver to settle up. Remember, guys, our podcasts are now live. If you want to watch the first episode, click on our profile. The YouTube is on there. The first episode with Paddy Pat is now live. That was streamed last night at 7 PM. Make sure you tune in for episode 2 this coming Saturday with TikTok Verstappen, also known as Andy Moore. He will be joining the F7 podcast, and we'll be doing one midweek as well with some of you drivers that do want to be a part of the podcast as well. You can come and join, and we can talk to you guys and do an F7 in-house podcast as well. We'll be looking at, obviously, we've got 7 races that race now across the 4 days. 140 seats to manage, so we're sort of at our limit with where we want to be with league races. Let me just invite Alvaro. We're at our sort of limit of where we want to be with our league races now. Now is moving on to sort of expanding into different areas, and the podcast is definitely the way forward. And it's a great way for you guys to get a chance to do something different. Sergio, I do need another driver. 1 second. It's a great way for you guys to join as well and have a laugh with us on the podcast and stuff like that. So we are on board with Jake. He is improving by 4 attempts as he comes through Ascari. Down towards Parabolica. Into Parabolica he goes, and then the DRS will kick in. The checkered flag has waved here in Monza. Quinlan can do no more. Jake to the line goes P6. That's all that Jake can do. And I think it's going to be the Alpha Tauri next. It is. It's Splandy, the Irishman, to the line goes P2. That is provisional front row at the moment. It's going to be Martin that comes through next. Goes P8, improves by 1 position. It's going to be the Aston Martin that is going to be next. That is Lewis, who got pole position here last week. The Aston Martin driver out of Parabolica. I need to join the commentary box. Down towards the line he goes. And Lewis stays P7. Could not improve. And that's Banter Brandon goes P5. So it is Banter Brandon in front at the moment. Rogue Smithy spins it. B-Right is still improving as well. You've got Henke. You've got Sendro. Henke to the line does improve. Here comes Sendro, the 2 Norwegians. Sendro goes P2. Provisional Norwegian front row. Here comes the championship leader. P4 for B-Right. It is the second row of the grid. But it's a Norwegian lockout on the front row here in Monza. I will join the commentary box now. So there we have it, the grid for this Grand Prix here in Monza. Henke and Sendro in the Alpine and the Williams on the front row. Splandy in the Alpha Tauri. What a qualifying for him on the second row of the grid alongside the championship leader of B-Right in the Haas. Rogue Smithy on the third row of the grid in the Ferrari alongside him. Banter Brandon, who's second in the championship in P6 in the Alpine. On the fourth row of the grid, it's Jake and Lewis in the Mercedes in the Aston. And on the fifth row of the grid, it's Martin in the Alpha Tauri and Super Turbo in the Alfa Romeo. Just get a quick 1:18.486 from Henke. That is 7 attempts quicker than any other pole lap today. I know, yeah. I just seen the bottom left, seen Alvaro's speaker just flashing. Yeah, so as I was saying, the podcast, obviously, that's not just going to be it as well. We'll be doing, sort of a midweek podcast where we'll talk about the races that we've seen that week. So we'll discuss with the drivers their thoughts on the races over the weekend and through midweek. Get a couple of the race winners on and stuff like that, and it'll be a little bit of a chilled sort of environment as well, and not sort of that podcast / interview that we do on the Saturday. It'll be something different as well that we do with it for you guys, so you guys can enjoy it as well. So here we go, this is it. Round 10 for the Italian Grand Prix here in Monza, sponsored by Rock Solid Rigs. Safety car in it. Yep. God's sake. You can tell when it's going to be a safety car because it stops for so long. Right, guys, just stay safe behind the safety car. Don't get any damage. Just let's all get into turn 1 and just stay behind the safety car. I do apologise. Sorry about this, guys. Absolutely trashing it. Sergio didn't get in either. So just stay safe behind the safety car, guys. I do apologise. But we'll get going again, don't worry. It really does my head in. It really does. It's just... Yeah. Yeah, it is, yeah. The cleanest lap we've seen today. So around Parabolica they go. So the safety car is out. They'll catch it up. They'll be back racing by lap 4. It's fine. We will roll with it. There is going to be a driver, 2 drivers, both the McLarens that have decided to pit. So they're going to make use of the safety car because they were at the back anyway. So it's not a bad idea. Both the McLarens double stacking as well. So, we are going racing. Finally, the safety car is in and down towards turn 1 they go. James is already through on Super Turbo. Here comes the Ferrari of Rogue Smithy down the inside of the championship leader of B-Right. He's got Banter Brandon right on his tail as well, who is fighting for that world title. James is through. Super Turbo getting overtaken by his teammate Martin is there. Fanfinis is through on Saro. The McLaren through on the Red Bull. So, Senjo still chasing down Henke. Splandy sticking with him. Rogue Smithy in the Scuderia is right up there as well. Definitely a great move for him to go up to gold. And there was a car that just went wide there into the Lesmo corner. So, Rogue Smithy chasing them down. And be right, he will... be in uncharted waters here. I'm not saying he's never made an overtake because he came from P9 last week to win the race, but not where you want to be here in Monza. And he doesn't know the driver in front of him either, a new type of driver on the grid. Oh, look at this from Super Turbo. Was he going to go down the inside of his teammate? Oh, I think he lost it a little bit there. Here comes Martin on JTXU, the Alpha Tauri on the Mercedes. So Senjo still leads to Henke. Banter Brandon still chasing down his championship rival. Remember, Banter Brandon is second in the Drivers' Championship. B-Right is first by 24 points. After that great result for him last weekend. A. Quinlan on James as well. James round the outside in the Ferrari. The Alfa Romeo down the inside And here comes Super Turbo, and A. Quinlan nearly loses it. Just keeps control. Fanfines is coming through as well in the McLaren. So we've got Rogue Smithy at one position. Everybody else sticking in the same place. James is up 2. Super Turbo is there as well. There goes A. Quinlan, really struggling still. And in to the polystyrene barriers. So it's still the 2 Norwegians that lead the Monza Grand Prix. DRS will be enabled at the end of this lap. Remember, that safety car did come out at the start of the Grand Prix. But everyone was in the same boat. A little bit annoying because everybody likes to start the Grand Prix. And Super Turbo's into the pit lane and gets a time penalty. I love the start of the Grand Prix as well, so I think a lot of people will be frustrated by that. Jake on the back of Banter Brandon. So that's the reason we've not had many positional changes, is because we had to have the start of the Grand Prix from behind the safety car. So let's have a look at tyre choices. So Splendy, Rogue Smithy and B-Rat all starting on them softs. Wow, that's a completely different strategy to what I thought they were going to go for. But the mediums can go 20 laps easily. I think I did 18 laps on them in silver, something like that. So Jake is chasing down Brandon here, both on the medium tyre compound. Down in towards Parabolica. Got the Mercedes and the Alpine. They're in that DRS train. Ryan is chasing down Martin as well, trying to keep that pace through Parabolica. There goes Senjo as well for the lead of this Grand Prix. The 2 Norwegians swap places. The Williams now leads to the Alpine and the Alpha Tauri. And the Alpha Tauri just losing the back ends ever so slightly. We've got B-Right really chasing down Smithy now in the Ferrari. As they go down towards Della Roggia. Oh, and that's the Alpine that makes a mistake. Henke is back through as well before the DRS straight. So Henke is retaking the lead this Grand Prix. Banter Brandon made a huge mistake, but he was able to keep it and stay in position. Dennis, you need to come back to gold. I still actually have you there, just in case you do. I think, anyway. Oh, off the track goes Ryan. Wow, that was a bit nervy. Here comes JTXU to capitalise on that mistake from Ryan now. Down towards Parabolica, and the Mercedes driver is going to go through on the McLaren. B-Right is chasing down Smithy now into the slipstream, but look at the straight line speed. James is into the pit lane and retires in the pit lane. So James goes into the pits on his debut race after 7 laps. On his debut race into the pit lane and retires. Really unfortunate for James. So, leaves the rest of the drivers still battling it out. The thing is, I don't know if B-Right... Yeah, I know what you mean, Dennis. I understand, mate. See, I don't know if B-Right's problem here, because he's very quick through the corners and he can catch up to Smithy, but I used B-Right's setup. And the only problem I had with it is the straight line speed was a lot worse than anybody else's. I found myself as a bit of a sitting duck down the straights. But It's so quick through the corners. Oh, into turn one. A little tap there. A little bit of a pile up. Ryan is through on Martin as well. So Ryan and Fanfinis are really going for the long stint here. And when everyone decides to pit, they will be the two leaders in this Grand Prix. Fanfinis is through on JTXU and up to P11 now. Down towards De La Roggia. Splandy is still in the podium places here. But he is on them softs. So down towards Ascari. I'll keep an eye out, Dennis. So this is where the overtakes are going to happen. If it's going to happen, JTXU still chasing down Fanfinis. Oh, nearly hits the back of him. Does hit the back of him. JTXU wants to smoke with Fanfinis here, doesn't he? Super Turbo's out. Oh, Super Turbo's lost it through Ascari. Is that going to be a safety car? It's not a safety car as of yet. It's not. Oh, that would have been great for the soft runners. I'm very surprised that it wasn't a safety car. So Super Turbo has completely lost it through Ascari and binned it into the wall there. So Henke still leads at the moment. B-Right is still chasing down Rogue Smithy. Is he going to go for it this time? He's really close to the Ferrari. But then once that Ferrari gets going, it's very difficult, especially when they're locked into a DRS train. He did get a really good entrance and exit out of Ascari. Into the slipstream now goes B-Right in the Haas. And Turbo not now, mate. Jesus, especially when... we've got bloody 5 reserves in the race and only bloody 10 full-time drivers. Be right, look at that. The straight line speed of that Ferrari is something else. And look at Banter Brandon. He knows he needs to get in front of that Ferrari. In front of that Haas. If he needs to sort of take back them points in the championship. So A. Quinlan is from Fanfinis. So Fanfinis is back into the pit lane onto fresh hards. Interesting. So he's going for the undercut, isn't he, here? He's going for the undercut, and Brandon is really chasing down B-Right. Remember, B-Right on them soft compound tyres. Banter Brandon will start to feel their mediums come into play now. Their mediums will be the tyre to be on. That's another yellow flag. Oh, is that a Mercedes? That's JTXU. That's the Mercedes of JTXU that spun it. That's Splandy into the pit lane from P3 on the grid. He's going for the undercut on Sendro and Henke. So here goes the Alpha Tauri off them soft tyres. But I tell you what that does now, it sort of leaves B-Right to attack Rogue Smithy, because Rogue Smithy will not have DRS now from Splandy in front. So this is the perfect opportunity for B-Right to get that overtake. And Rogue Smithy goes off the track. JTXU is out as well. I don't know what they're doing there. I think Rogue Smithy was trying to let B-Right through. He was trying to slow down to let the Haas driver through so he could get DRS. And that's what it looked like. So can Banter Brandon get the move as well? He's coming for it. Rogue Smithy will have that DRS now on B right as they go up the pitch straight. A really interesting battle starting to play out here. Henke and Senjo have taken off. 2.5 seconds clear. So B right is into the pit lane. Rogue Smithy stays out. So does Banter Brandon, who has that DRS on the Ferrari driver. And Banter Brandon is up to P3. He knew he'd be left to attack. Rogue Smithy did have DRS as well, but Banter Brandon just killed it up that straight. And up to P3 goes Rogue Smithy on them soft compound tyres. Where is B-Right going to come out? Adjacent to Splandy here. B-Right in the house coming out. Here comes Splandy in the Alpha Tauri, who was in front of B-Right. And he will return back in front of B-Right as well. B-Right just coming out behind A. Quinlan in the Alfa Romeo. So he will have to navigate past the Alfa Romeo to get into some free area. What do Henke and Senjo do now? Do they follow suit? Did he go for the pit stop? So down towards Parabolica they go. Rogue Smithy is chasing down Banter Brandon as well. So they know Splandy's pitted. Surely they've got to go in as well. They are absolutely not going in. What is Banter Brandon going to do? He's going to stay out. And Rogue Smithy is into the pit lane. Rogue Smithy is in. Where is he going to come out? To be right. Jake is now within DRS range of Banter Brandon. So Smithy getting them tyres changed. Here comes Splandy. B-Right is right behind A. Quinlan. B-Right trying to get through on the Alfa Romeo. He does finally get through, but where is Rogue Smithy? He's coming out of the pit lane, and B-Right is definitely taking him. The undercut is strong here in Monza. So Rogue Smithy has come out behind Lewis in the Aston Martin for staying out that extra lap. It's really cost the Ferrari driver. Fanfitness is just not having much luck lately, is he? Like, he's finding it really difficult. He's still in the championship fight, but he's just finding it really difficult lately. So B-Right is 1.8 seconds behind Splandy after being held up by A. Quinlan. Ryan on the back of Martin. These have had a battle a couple of times this race already, haven't they, here in Monza? So, here goes Ryan on Martin. And up to P5 goes the McLaren. Lewis is throwing A. Quinlan as well before he even got to Parabolica. Rogue Smithy with a 3 second. Oh, wow. That's really crucial. Here goes A. Quinlan back on Lewis. Back into the points goes the Alfa Romeo as they go into Rettifilio, and the Aston Martin has hit the Alfa Romeo, and that gives Rogue Smithy the run through of his life straight into Rettifilio. So didn't have to navigate through any driver after the Aston Martin collided with the Alfa Romeo. Here comes Jake now as well. He is closing in on Banter Brandon in the Alpine. These guys on the medium tyre compound. Down towards Parabolica. Oh, the Curva Alberta, whatever you want to call it now. It was renamed this year. And they both stay out on the mediums. But Jake will have the DRS. B-Right is throwing Saro, but we are on board with Jake here in the Mercedes that will take that position away from Banter Brandon. So Jake It was like a slow-mo collision. Into turn 1, just dead slow. Here comes Banter Brandon. That's a yellow flag. Oh, Banter Brandon needs to be careful. That is Ryan Dijperveen in the McLaren who's round. This is not good for Brandon, especially if B Wright's going for that undercut. B Wright is through on Ryan now as well, as he just tumbles down the order. Saro will have a look. Banter Brandon gets that DRS on Jake. Down towards Ascari. Looks like he's got so much more pace through the corners, Brandon. Brandon does not really want to be battling with a Mercedes driver, and he's having to ease off the throttle ever so slightly as well. He should get the DRS straight, and he should be able to easily pass the Mercedes. He does, and Banter Brandon is back into P3, but that has cost him a lot of time, that battle with Jake. And B Wright, he only finds himself around 17 seconds behind Banter Brandon as it stands. So he would come out in front of Brandon by about 3 to 4 seconds. Rogue Smithy, he's up to P8, but he's 3.8 behind B Wright. B Wright behind Splendid, who was third before the pit stops. But Splendid is on the hard compound tyre. Very interesting battle here. I think B Wright will have to be patient and wait for that DRS straight. Ryan is into the pits. Not been a safety car yet, 11 laps remaining. Fanfitness is chasing down A. Quinlan as well. A. Quinlan done 15 laps on the mediums. Jake is into the pits. Brandon has stayed out, but Jake in the Mercedes is in. And we'll get a feel of where Brandon is going to come out to B Wright from where Jake is going to come out. So B Wright comes through. And Jake is only just coming out of the pit lane. Splendid yielding the position to B Wright. Rogue Smithy is also through. Jake is coming out way behind here, stuck behind Lewis. He has gone onto the softs till the end of this race, but will it be enough? Has Brandon, Henke and Senjo stayed out for too long? I personally think that they need a safety car now to win this race. I think they've left it open for the likes of B Wright and Splendid and even Rogue Smithy to get a podium here. I think the undercut is so strong, and I think that they've left it too long here, because they've started on the mediums, which means they've gone for a long stint on the mediums, but they're going to go onto the softs, so they're going to be rapid near the end of this race. But I feel like they're going to be too far behind. But what do I know? At the moment, Jake is around 8 seconds behind B Wright. That is doable on softs. Senjo and Henke go into the pits, the two Norwegians. Brandon stays out for another lap. He's gambling. Henke and Senjo on the way out. Here comes B Wright. And B Wright is going to take the lead of this Grand Prix. Splendid moves up into second. Here comes Rogue Smithy on Senjo. Later on the brakes he goes, and the Ferrari is in front of the Williams. Wow! So Rogue Smithy's even took one of them. Senjo and Henke, who were 1-2 in this race. Senjo has now found himself held up behind Rogue Smithy in the Ferrari. Senjo needs to get through Rogue Smithy as quick as possible here. Otherwise Henke will get away. Henke's already 3 seconds in front of Senjo because of Rogue Smithy now. He's doing really well. Banter Brandon's still leading. Then to Splendid, and then Henke B right there as well. Senjo is finally through on Rogue Smithy. Then Fresh Softs, really strong. Jake is through on Lewis. Banter Brandon, when he pits, he's going to come out behind Lewis as well here. He is into the pits. Brandon is into the pits. Where does he come out? Martin's into the pits as well. So B Right will now go into the lead of this Grand Prix. Henke on Splandy. Here comes Henke. The Alpha Tauri of Splandy. Can he go for a double move? He's going to be patient. He's on them Fresh Softs. And now he's right on the tail of the championship leader. Sorry if you can hear me sniffling, guys. I've got really bad hay fever. I say it every week, but it's a nightmare. Brandon did come out behind Lewis. 2 seconds behind Lewis. But you look at the pace of these drivers on the Fresh Softs. They are rapid. Jake getting a 3-second time penalty. Oh, that's really put a dampener on his race. A. Quinlan setting the fastest lap of this race. So here comes Henke on B Right. Nothing B Right can do about that. Into Ascari they go. And B Right will have to settle for second at the moment. He does have Senjo catching them now as well. Eight laps remaining here in Monza. Henke setting the fastest lap of this race. Fanfnis is on the back of Martin as well. Is he going to go for it before Parabolica? I think he'll just wait for that DRS straight. So up the pit straight. Brandon's going to go for it. He's got so much more grip than Lewis. And round the outside goes the Alpine. Good racing from the two of them. And Lewis will have to settle back in behind him going into Della Roggia. Senjo is now within DRS range of Splandy as well. And Splandy has lost it to B Right, which means Splandy theoretically is a sitting duck here. So here comes Senjo through Ascari. And Splandy, who's done 9 laps on them hards. Down towards Parabolica they go. Henke just getting faster and faster. And here comes Senjo, the Norwegian on the Irishman. And Senjo is back into the podium places. Jake and Banter Brandon are absolutely flying as well on them Fresh Softs. I thought it was a bit too late. I take back my words. They are really going for it here. We're only 4.5 seconds off Splandy. And he's about to get Rogue Smithy. Round the outside goes the Mercedes on the Ferrari. The Ferrari trying to defend. He's got a lot of straight line speed, Smithy. He has got a lot of straight line speed. This will hold Jake up and Brandon will start to catch. Jake needed to get through as quick as possible, especially with that 3-second penalty. Out of the Lesmo corners. And the Mercedes with the DRS. It will be an easy move. And the Ferrari will slot back in behind him. Into Ascari they go. Senjo on the back of B right now. He's just pulling off. Eased off the throttle ever so slightly. There's a lot of different strategies, Red. So Senjo will regain P2 before the pit stops. There was less than a second separating them. After the pit stops, it's 4.6. So B Right does not need to get held up, and Rogue Smithy is back past Jake on them old mediums with the DRS. So Be Right needs to not get held up in any way here if he wants to not get caught from the likes of Brandon. And Jake back on Rogue Smithy. And he's going to go for it. He's going to go down the inside. Later on the brakes they go. Wheel to wheel, side by side. Got the Mercedes and the Ferrari. Needs to leave a bit of room there. A bit of space for Rogue Smithy. Rogue Smithy let him have the space going into the corner. Down the inside. He's got to give it him back on the outside. If they're fair with you, you've got to be fair with them. Here comes Banter Brandon on Rogue Smithy. Down towards Ascari. Oh, and the Alpine. Wow, that was so close. And Rogue Smithy just cut the chicane. It wasn't his fault at all, that. He's been sort of badged out the way by these two on the softs, hasn't he? So, now the chase is on. 4 laps to go. And it's 6 seconds between the podium places and Jake and Brandon. Here comes Brandon in the Alpine. Down towards turn 1 he goes. Ryan is out. Ryan is out. That's a safety car. That is a safety car. Ryan Dipervine is out of this race. And that is a safety car. This is great for them drivers that are on them fresher soft tyres. The likes of Brandon, who's only done 4 laps. He waited and waited and waited. Went onto them fresh softs. Got that safety car. Now brings him right into play. So what do Be Right and Splandy do in the Haas and the Alpha Tauri? If they get softs on, they give up position, and they're not going to have DRS until the end of this race. There's not going to be any DRS. Do they just stay out and defend? What do they do? That is the question. If Be Right and Splandy were to pit now, they'd come out around P9. They would come out in P9. He is pitting. Be Right has pitted. Wow, so was Splandy. So they did pit. Oh, Banter Brandon's followed them in. If I was Brandon, I'd have stayed out. I've only done 4 laps on the softs. It puts you into P3. It puts you in front of your championship rival. Everybody's pitted. Surely they stay out. If I was, I've got to say, I don't know because Brandon's the one fighting for the championship in the gold division. But if I was Brandon, then I'd stay out. 4 laps on the softs, that's all I've done. The safety car is going to be out for another 1 or 2 laps. There's probably not going to be DRS until the end of this race. And it puts you in front of your championship rival. Wow. So every driver has pitted, barring Lewis. Every single driver. I tell you what as well, Henke and Senjo, they've done 6 laps on them softs. They could go from leading this race, this whole race in 1-2, to not even finishing in the top 3 here. Wow. So the safety car is in this lap. We're going to go racing. And we're going to have 2 full laps of racing with no DRS until the end of this race. Henke and Senjo 7 laps on them softs. Lewis 13 on the mediums. Should Henke and Senjo have pitted? Saro doing well as well in P11. Alvaro's still there as well. Wow. So they're going to go. Henke is just leading them round really slowly. Doesn't want to get caught up the straight towards turn 1. And off he goes. Just backs them up. And off he goes. Lewis 14 laps on the mediums. And they're going for it. There goes B right in the Haas. Here comes Splandi in the Alpha Tauri. Here comes the Alpine of Banter Brandon. And Lewis being swallowed up on their mediums. The Alpine, and there goes the Mercedes down the inside of Jake as well. In towards turn 1. What a move by Banter Brandon on Lewis there into turn 1. That's an Alpha Tauri that's off the track. That's Splandi, who started in P3 in this race, is now out of the points. Fanfinish trying to chase down Martin into Della Roggia. The Mercedes and the Ferrari collide as well. That was Jake on Rogue Smithy. That was a silly move from the Mercedes. Dive down the inside. There was nowhere to go. That is A. Quinlan off the track as well. 1.5 laps remain here in Monza. Saro is through on Martin. Fanfnis is through on Splandi the Irishman. Senjo and Henke being chased down by B. Wright and Banter Brandon. The 2 championship leaders in P3 and P4, but they're on so much fresher tyres. Senjo and Henke have got to be watching them rear view mirrors now, but they've only got to hold on for just over a lap's time. But look at that, they've got so much more speed and grip. Is B. Wright going to get it? He's going to get it. He's going to get Senjo. And up to P2. The Haas driver's going to go down the straight. Senjo is trying to keep it. Down the inside goes the Haas driver. Wheel to wheel with the Williams. Getting pushed out wide. But the Haas has got the grip. Banter Brandon wants a piece as well. He sees his opportunity in his eyes for a podium. Lewis is in P7. He's held on pretty well considering his situation with the tyres. Martin, Fanfnis, Splandi there as well. Senjo is going to have to defend against Banter Brandon on the very last lap. B. Wright, he sees in his eyes the race win here in Monza. He sees Henke's done 9 laps on them softs. He is catching him with every single corner. Here comes Banter Brandon on the Williams of Senjo. Senjo just got more straight line speed, but into Ascari to go. Them old soft tyres will be burning now. Banter Brandon chasing down Senjo into the slipstream. This could be a podium for Banter Brandon. Wheel to wheel, side by side with the Williams down towards Parabolica on the very last lap. And Banter Brandon is into the podiums. B. Wright just didn't get it. Henke held on. And the Norwegian driver takes the race win here in Monza. B. Wright takes second and Banter Brandon, with a brilliant performance, takes the podium. Senjo losing out right at the end after being in the top 2 all race. Senjo obviously P4, Splandi P5, Fanfnis ending up in P6, Saro with a brilliant result in P7. What a race, what an ending. I know, Senjo, I feel for you, mate. I feel for you. On the top step there is Henke. Managed to hold on one more lap, and he'd have defo lost that podium as well. But he kept it, he defended, he did what he needed to do. So there you have it. Henke wins the Italian Grand Prix here in Monza and takes the fastest lap and takes pole position. So that is a Grand Slam for Henke, only the 3rd Grand Slam this season. B. Wright in the Haas takes P2 from 4th on the grid, and Banter Brandon from 6th on the grid takes P3. Senjo after being in the top 2 all race, loses it from that late safety car. Fanfinus from 16th on the grid takes P6, and Saro, what a drive from the Red Bull there, finishing in P7. Martin takes 3 points, 4 points as well. Jake takes 2 points, and Alvaro Chabas in the top 10 in the gold race. That is unbelievable. Rogue Smithy just finishing outside it, but a few collisions near the end of that Grand Prix. We will definitely take a look at him, but what an exciting end to that race. Let's take a screenshot of that. I'll just have a look at the race director as well. I'll try and take a look at the race director if I remember and if I have time now, just in case somebody forgets it. Not many corner cuts or incidents, really. There we go. Right, we will move on to the interviews. That was Spandy. That was so unlucky, mate. You did really well there. Really well. So, just bear with me, guys. I know, Saro. Great racing, mate. Is Banter Brandon in the party? I don't think Brandon is in. I will see if he joins, but we will go straight on to the driver that finished in second today, the championship leader, and extends his lead once again to second place. Be right, how are you, mate?
Hello, Nathan. All right, mate?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Delighted with that. Yeah, P2 from P4. Can't take that. The win was there at the end, but just about a scoring probably didn't help me there.
No, I mean, it was really close, though. Obviously, the late safety car came out. Were you not worried that, obviously, some of the drivers were going to stay out like Banter Brandon and sort of leave you to sort of catch up there? Because he was only on 4 lap old softs, Brandon.
Yeah, I mean, I think them softs, they were really fast. I was very surprised the front 2 stayed out, to be fair.
Oh, really?
When I seen everyone box behind me, I thought, oh, here we go then. See what I can do. And yeah, managed to get P2. I'm really delighted. Obviously, I've extended my gap to Brandon a little bit more. Not quite Hanky, but I know Hanky was still a few points behind. He's only made some at like 7 points on me. I know that's quite a bit in racing, but I'm happy with that. Monza's not one of my strongest tracks, and to come in and get P2 under the circumstances and then try to, yeah, as you can see, I only finished 3/10 off Hanky there at the end of the race. So yeah, no, really, really delighted, mate. Yeah, buzzing, absolutely buzzing.
Yeah, it was a great race, mate. And obviously with you finishing P2 and Brandon finishing in P3 now, that's an extra 3 points, which means you actually lead the championship by 25 points, which means it's actually a whole race win that you lead by now. We still obviously have 8 rounds to go. Everything's still to play for. As you know, in racing, anything can happen, and one bad race can put you sort of right in the mix of things.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Yeah, just trying to sort of just minimise everything, just take my time at your time. I think you've seen today with Rogue Smith, he was being a bit dangerous saying he was a reserve, so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to take my time. Yeah. I was comfortable on that soft tire in the beginning. And
he's actually a full-time driver now, Ben. That's his full-time seat.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So
I moved him straight up and put him straight in his seat.
But no, yeah, it was just sort of biding my time and just doing what I can do, mate. Just keeping the consistency there. Like I said, Monza, not one of my strongest tracks. I got about 4 or 5 strong tracks coming up for me now, so I'm absolutely buzzing about that. To have the lead I have over Brandon and still Hanky, and as you can see, I'm bringing this fight to Hanky. Yeah, he might beat me in qualifying, but I managed to be there in race pace again. But no, Hanky's outstanding, as we know. Was quite unlucky not to make it a hat trick, but have a P1 and a P1 from the last 2 weeks and a P2 today. Yeah, no, I'm absolutely delighted.
Yeah, you are on unbelievable form, Ben, and it's been an incredible run. You've extended that gap once again, so well done and congratulations on a brilliant podium, mate.
Cheers, Nathan, and well done to Brandon and Hanky. Yeah, brilliant drive for them as well.
Cheers, Ben. Thanks, mate. We will go back to Brandon because he's joined. So this is your P3 driver, gets the podium right at the end there. Brandon, how are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm alright. Cheers, mate.
What a drive. Obviously, he started P6. You pitted, you went onto them fresh softs, and you just managed to get Senjo as you went down into Parabolica on the very last lap. That was close, mate.
Yeah, I could see him charging as soon as we got into that straight, and obviously you don't want to go side by side in the sky, so yeah, I just thought I'd be clever, back out of that, and then I had about probably triple his ERS, so I knew down that back straight I could just blast that, get around him, and yeah, clinch that podium.
Yeah, absolutely. And that today is your 5th podium, and you've had 1 race win as well in the first 10 rounds now, which is incredible form. You're 2nd in the Drivers' Championship. Obviously, B-Right extended the gap only by 3 points today, but there's still obviously 8 rounds to go. Is it obviously when you're racing out there and you know you're tied up into a championship battle? Is the mindset different when you're going into the race to just going into a race that isn't involving a championship?
I think that's definitely on the back of your mind, but at the same time you're just too distracted with what's going on in front of you. So yeah, obviously that plays a factor, but you know, you just got to keep doing what you do week in, week out, and yeah, obviously you'll be thinking about that, but that shouldn't be a priority.
No, absolutely. And I just want to say, mate, that overtake into turn 1 when the safety car went in as well, and then that overtake into Parabolica, mate, what a good couple of laps you had there at the end. You must have enjoyed the battling that you had on track today, especially from P6.
Yeah, especially you know, those last couple laps, like 2 laps, you know everyone's going to get a bit desperate, so
Yeah.
I'm just trying to find every bit of space available, try not to get caught up, and yeah, that's probably the most optimal thing I could have done. And yeah, that's probably what got me the podium, to be honest, that little double switch back at turn 1, turn 2. So yeah, you know, it was a clean race, nothing really went wrong. So yeah.
Yeah, it was a fantastic drive, Brandon. Going from P6 to P2, that means that you this season already in the Gold Division, you've made 35 overtakes, which is just incredible. You've been in the mix of everything, you've battled everybody, and to still come out in the end and still already have 5 podiums and a race win under your belt is an incredible run of form. So well done on another well-deserved podium, mate.
Yeah, cheers, mate. And well done, thank you, Ben.
Cheers, Brandon. Thanks, mate. Is Henky in there?
Yeah, mate.
Henky, once again, a Grand Slam, a pole position, a race win, a fastest lap. We might have to start calling you Max Verstappen. What a drive, mate.
Thank you. I'm very happy with that one. Feel like I drove a pretty good race, just held the lead and tried to control the pace. The mediums felt pretty good, and then obviously box to the softs. They were really quick, managed to catch up to B-Right very fast and pull a gap. And when that safety car came out, I got pretty pissed.
Yeah, I bet you did.
Didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking, if I box now, everyone is probably just gonna stay out and I'm fucked. So
yeah.
But then I stayed out and everybody boxed and I was thinking I'm fucked there.
Every single driver on the grid boxed.
Yeah. But luckily I had 2 drivers behind me that could defend a little bit, and I just managed to hold B-Right behind.
Yeah, right at the end there as well. Really unfortunate for your other countryman as well there, Senjo, because you and Senjo led that race from start to finish in P1 and P2. You were absolutely flying, you know, you were way clear. Your strategy there was to hold off on the mediums, go on to the softs later on in the race. You came out about a second, I think, just behind where you wanted to be, where the leaders were. So the strategy was actually okay, and you were absolutely rapid on the softs. The battle near the end of the race, did you think at one point that they might have been able to catch you?
Yeah, I was definitely scared, but luckily this track is not that based on the wheels you have, because there is just so much straights and not that much traction. So I was just thinking, if I have more ERS than him on the last lap, I could defend it.
No, absolutely. You did really, really well, mate. It was another beautiful performance. You are still in the championship battle. You are a little bit behind, but you are still 3rd in the Drivers' Championship. Obviously, this is your 4th podium of the season. but you've actually qualified on pole 6 times, but you've only had 1 race win. So I think once that consistency gets a little bit better, because if you look at the terms of like Banter Brandon, is you've both won 1 race, but he gains on average 14 points per race, where you're on average gaining 10. This race win should boost that back up now. And are you looking at sort of eyeing a battle for the championship nearer the end of the season and just continue this run of form now?
Yeah, definitely. Didn't have the best of starts in the start of the season, but now I have managed to get some points back, and just trying to, if I keep winning, obviously the points will come, and that safety car at the end, if that didn't come out, I would have gained more points, so it was kind of bad anyways, but I still managed to get the win.
Yeah, because if the safety car didn't come out, you would have still had Senjo behind you, so it would have been extra points gained. But at least you obviously won the race. It was fantastic to watch. You were rapid in qualifying. You got that pole position. You got that fastest lap. You've got the race win, mate. Congratulations on the Grand Slam and a brilliant race.
Thank you so much, Nathan.
Cheers, Henke. Thanks, mate. There you have it. Henke wins his 2nd race of the season with a Grand Slam here in Monza. B-Right takes 2nd, and the championship rival of Banter Brandon, who are 1-2 in the championship, finished 2-3 here in Monza. What a race. What an ending to the race. Thanks for watching, guys. We will be back tomorrow for Fantasy F7. Then Tuesday we have the crossplay division, and Wednesday we have F2 Realistic and F1 Realistic. Make sure you tune in for that from 6 PM, and then we have podcast next Saturday, so make sure you tune in for that. But we will do a podcast midweek as well, go through all the races from this previous week. So we'll talk about Monza for the bronze, silver and gold division, and then we'll talk about the fantasy race, crossplay and realistics. So make sure you tune into the F7 podcast throughout the week.